He's already serving 4 life sentences plus 35 years for some of the lives he took on this day last March in and around Atlanta. But Robert Aaron Long will face a death penalty hearing next month for the other lives he took as he targeted women at Georgia massage parlors 1 year ago today. Investigators say he's confessed to them that he went on that deadly rampage, taking a total of 8 lives, 6 of them those of Asian American women, because it was taking out his rage on the focus of his sex addiction that he was battling. Millions in Georgia and across the country instead regarded this incident as part of the frightening wave of AAPI hate, or hate against Asian American Pacific Islanders, that spiked during the pandemic. Live with me now, Nilda Valmorris, the longtime force behind the advocacy rooted at My Sister's House, which focuses on, but certainly is not limited to, the AAPI community. Nilda's here to talk about where we are with all of this 1 year later. Good morning, Nilda.
Good morning, Sansari.
How are you feeling 1 year after this massacre in Georgia, 2 full years into the pandemic? How are you feeling about the uptick of AAPI hate, which some believe was tied to blaming kind of all Asian Americans for the existence of the coronavirus here in America?
Well, I too share the belief that there was a lot of blame on Asian Pacific Islanders. And as a woman, a lot of those incidents happen, more than 70% of those incidents happen against Asian women or Asian American women. And so it's not just an issue of racial violence, it's also an issue of gender violence. And it's scary as an Asian woman, to deal with and to remember these things is also hard.
Definitely. Just last month, 2 Asian women in New York were killed, one who was followed and stabbed to death, and one, a Bay Area native, Michelle Go, who was pushed onto subway tracks and killed, believed to be targeted because of their ethnicity. Listening especially to women here, thanks to My Sister's House, do you get the sense that incidents have been trailing off? And even if they are, has the increased fear subsided at all, or is the community still at that very tense level of fight or flight mode?
I think the reporting may have tapered off. I'm not sure that the incidents have tapered. I still think that that it's all in the back of our heads, and especially when incidents across the nation happen. And we'll be acknowledging it tonight at the Capitol with an event sponsored by the APICA, the Asian Pacific Islander Capital Association. They'll be doing a vigil rally there, remembering Michelle and Christina and the 6 women that died in Atlanta.
California has looked to legislation to try and get at this issue, as they remember, with things like the vigil. Since studies have shown that of the AAPI crimes reported, women were the victims, and 2/3 of them, as you were talking about, and most of the incidents took place in public. One new bill by State Senator Dave Min would generate some data to try and understand this problem, requiring public transit systems to study the types of harassment that commuters experience. What do you think about that effort?
Yeah, my understanding is that a lot of incidents happen in public areas, and especially in involving public transportation. So I think it's really important that we find remedies, and if it begins with studying the problem, then let's do that. But let's definitely get to the remedies part of making sure that women are safe in public transit and in public safety areas, right? And that they feel comfortable calling for assistance. And let's also hold others accountable to prevent them from putting other people in fear.
Definitely. Another bill, this one by Assemblywomen Bonta and Weber, seeks to look at this issue like a public health crisis as well as a crime. The State Department of Public Health would start educating Californians about harassment that just happens on the street, a campaign that would happen over several years and include special outreach to those with limited English skills. A third bill in the works would create a training program for businesses and require them to address how customers may be harassing people at their stores. You just talked about remedies. Is this the kind of the right stuff? Is this enough?
Yeah. Until we stop having women be in fear, and especially Asian women being in fear of being able to be picked on, or because of the lack of language, there's always more that needs to be done, and that should be done. So I think that these are definite steps in the right direction.
Alrighty, more than 9,000 instances of AAPI hate were reported nationally between March of 2020 and July of 2021. What do you want to say to anyone listening about what being targeted this way does to a person, why it has to stop? And I know, because I know your story, that you yourself have not been immune.
Yes, and it's scary when when you go out in public and you're by yourself, and how will you respond, and you have to be prepared for that, right? And so what I want is for people to know that they can ask for help, that they should ask for help if they need it, and they should report it. And I also want people that are know someone who might be committing these crimes, committing these dangers, that we hold them more accountable and tell them this is not okay. This is not okay to cause fear, to cause havoc, to not allow people to have their lives and to grow old.
Already, the word from Nilda Bell-Morris. This is not okay. We hope a lot of people hear that today. And just quickly before we have to let you go, what time does the vigil start tonight at the Capitol?
So it starts at 5:30 at the Capitol.
5:30. Thank you so much, Nilda, for joining me today.
Thank you.